right? So you think that you've gotten a legalization, and the people who hate cannabis still hate cannabis, and they still work against cannabis, and they still want to stop it, even though you keep having common sense. And if common sense and science were accepted by politicians, we would all have fewer problems. But what do I know? Okay, we're going to move on. This is the International Cannabis Business Conference Berlin 2024. I'd like to thank our title sponsor, the Tolman Group. We remind you we're doing a science and technology forum in Slovenia, September 13th, and all kinds of other stuff. Now, to discuss the cultivation of medical cannabis in Germany, we have an all-star panel, and it is led by the managing director of Black Onyx Capital LLC. Put your hands together and welcome Claudia Della Mora.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Good morning. So excited to be here. I'm going to make a brief introduction. My name is Claudia Della Mora, kind of part of the family now of ICBC. So I'm an investment banker and managing director at Black Legend Capital, a boutique investment bank based in Los Angeles. Cannabis is one of the industries that we've been focusing on for the past almost 10 years, every vertical, and also emerging markets such as Europe and other countries. So this panel is very interesting because it's actually not about only cultivation, I think. You know, we're representing here every vertical of the industry, from cultivation to distribution to manufacturing pharma. So I'll make a quick introduction. First of all, here, Kai, my friend Kai, he's one of the best attorneys in the country, so he will be probably diving into the answers for legal questions. And then we have Benedict, the founder of Cansativa, which is the unique and only authorized distributor in Germany, correct me if I'm wrong, of cannabis, medical cannabis, cultivated in the country. So we know there was a tender in the country, and 3 companies won the tender, and they're the cultivators, licensed cultivators, Demican, Tilray, and Aurora. And we have actually here also Philip from Demican. Benedict, as I said, is from Cansativa, a distributor, and then we also have Thomas from a 420 Pharma manufacturer and pharmaceutical company. If you guys want to introduce briefly yourself, maybe, and or something else.
Yeah, I'm Kai Friedrich Niemann. I'm a lawyer since 2002. I'm in the industry since 2017. 2017, I visited my first cannabis conference, and since 2019, I'm only consulting CBD companies, hemp companies, medical cannabis import companies, and I'm the legal advisor of the European Industrial Hemp Association.
Well, I'm Philip. I'm managing director of Demican, have been in the pharmaceutical industry now for more than 10 years and 2.5 years now with Demican. It's a bit more than just cultivation for the German state. It has been, and it will be in the future, obviously, but we are really covering the full supply chain from seed to sale, to say so.
Yeah, and I'm Benedict, representing Cansativa. We're enabling cannabis and building the leading platform to offer the most desirable brands and products. We import, package, distribute products throughout Germany and also into other EU countries. We're also covering most parts of the value chain, excluding the cultivation.
Yes, my name is Thomas Schatton, CEO from 420 Pharma. I'm in the industry since 5 years now. We founded the company 2019 and are one of the biggest wholesaler here across Europe. In 2022, the company Curaleaf stepped in as an investor in our company, and we are happy to discover whatever is in front of us after legalization here in Germany, and happy to be on this panel here. Thank you.
So let me ask like a quick clarification. because I saw you were, kind of looking at me like, okay, so Cansativa, distributor, now also importer and also exporter. Yes, I heard that you made a new partnership for distribution towards Czech Republic, correct? So let me ask a question. So if I understand it correctly, this is how I actually have been studying it for several years, following your work. Cansativa distributes the medical flower produced by the 3 cultivation companies, right, authorized. But at the same time, Demecan, as he said, is actually covering the entire supply chain up to delivery. So where's the mismatch there?
I think it's a great question, and it's also, let's say, a important question right now due to the new regulation. Because what you've mentioned is totally correct. Over the last years, we, on behalf of the BfArM, so the German authority, distributed the locally grown medical cannabis into the pharmacies. 100% correct. That's one vertical of our work. In addition to that, we import other products, we have own brands, and also have a wholesale business line. So that's a little bit the Cansativa perspective. And as of this new change, and I'm very sure that we're covering this topic today in our panel, there will be a certain change because there will be not only Demecan, but potentially further licensed producers in the future. And obviously, with this new framework, these products are not required to be pumped through the Cansativa system because it's not part of this tender, of this cultivation tender, and also our distribution agreement that we also won in a tender. So we are really at the point where Cansativa is still the exclusive partner of the governmental authority on the distribution of domestically grown medical cannabis, but only to the extent of the existing contract and the existing, let's say, old volumes. And now we have this change.
Right, until 2026, correct?
So it started in 2021, the first deliveries, and it's a 5 years or 4 years contract, and the last product, I think that was Aurora and also Demecan in 2022 was connected, so 26 should be correct, given that there's no change on this overall framework and contract, because this is also something that needs to be elaborated and to be worked on. Will there be a change on this contract that maybe Demecan has with the authorities and also we have with the authorities? And that's probably nothing that we can disclose or discuss publicly right now.
Okay, so but let's talk about this new. There's a couple of new situations here, right? The legalization of adult use and the liberalization of medical cannabis. Now, the liberalization of medical cannabis, we're talking about the lifting of the restrictions of production for each one of the 3 cultivators, and at the same time also potentially unlimited licenses. Someone says even up to 100. So let's talk about the pros and cons. Coming from the US, we all are used to, think limited license market is better than unlimited license market. So, and plus at the same time, there's also the legalization of the adult use, which obviously, it's not really how we're thinking about it. It's the cannabis clubs, social clubs, and potentially, when there will be commercialization of adult use, probably the license authorizations to cultivate adult use will be given to the medical cannabis cultivators. All right, so pros and cons.
Yeah, I mean, let me, maybe we take a look back into history. So if we remember the first ICBC in 2017, there was the tender, everything, the procedures were starting, and I remember 18, 19 companies were preparing for the application for the tender, lots of consultants, lawyers, companies coming here. It was like a green rush here by that time in Berlin. Yeah, that was a big thing. And everyone wanted to do that. So there were these restrictions to 10 tons for 4 years. And we were just talking about that. Weren't these restrictions in time by that place? And we would have the same situation like now. Without restriction, anyone would have been able to apply for a license if the pharmaceutical grades were fulfilled. Imagine that. We would have 10, 15, 20, 30 facilities already here in Germany producing locally. But that didn't happen, so the restrictions were in place. And probably for the market development, that was the right decision for that time. But then the federal elections came, and the Liberal Party, the FDP, they were demanding that these restrictions should be lifted. And Wieland Schindenburg always said Germany has to become the export nation, the export world record championship for medical cannabis. And everyone said, oh, that's strange, that's brave calling. Now it came. Yeah, no one really. It was at the last moment in November. No one really expected that that these restrictions were lifted because it wasn't really in the debate. But they did a good lobby work here. These guys. So now we have the situation, indeed, there is no restriction whatsoever. Not on product quantity, not on numbers of facilities, nothing. When you can produce cannabis to pharmaceutical standards, you can produce it in Germany. You can apply and you will, the authorization will have to be granted to your company. Exactly.
How many companies do you think they're gonna start applying?
That's the big question, because we are not in the same situation as 17, 18. Companies and people were prepared, their money was there, the North American companies, they were ready for expansion, going global, going Europe, and this attitude is not there anymore. There were several crises. The cannabis market in the US still in a crisis, isn't it?
Do you think so? The funders of this new cultivation facility will come from North America, or Europe or Germany?
Hard to tell, because you have to keep one thing in mind. There's this Article 21 of the Single Convention saying basically, and in Canada applies that, saying basically the more you produce domestically, the less you can import. So in the mid to long run, in the next 3 to 5 years, if Demecan or Rowa Tilray ramp up their production to 60 tons, we have imported 30 tons now. So what the balance will be from the demand, the local demand for medical cannabis, and the local production, we will see how that will unfold.
So once domestic production will just increase and new players will come online. Of course, the Single Convention, as you said, says that if there's enough production, then you can block the importers. So, what will be the consequences, for example, for all of these producers in other countries, such as Portugal, Macedonia, Colombia, aiming at already probably selling to Germany? Would they be just not be able to sell anymore into the country?
Yes. Quite clear.
You heard that?
But wait, Kai. There is one crucial thing when it comes to medical cannabis, from my perspective. So, and 5 years ago, where the whole business started here in Germany or in Europe particularly, we thought, okay, there are so many facilities we can buy everywhere. This is the lowest problem. This is not the bottleneck. Then we were into the business and discovered, wow, it's not very easy to grow cannabis on a medical grade month by month, week by week, do harvest all 2 weeks and deliver the same product in the same range of parameters. So it's not like easy putting money on the table, buying a facility, starting the grow. Maybe in 3 years, this will be the first productive grow when you start right now. So it's not like bam, and you have the facility ready. And if the process change and the value change are already established, I wouldn't change my supplier just because there is a new one, because I'm so related to the quality and the consistency of these processes. So I think now new suppliers in Germany coming to the market to run grow facilities will have a very hard standing when it comes to the economics at the beginning, 100%.
I can just confirm that. I mean, we know how long it has taken up to run the facility well, and we're still optimizing everything every day. So to get a GMP facility, to get the GMP certificate, which you need in the European Union in order to produce medical cannabis, it is quite a long run.
And maybe, I know, Kai, you have this opinion from a legal perspective, just like really from the business perspective. We have established international supply chains, we have great products brought to the market, and we have low-cost products, we have high-quality products. And in general, I would say more licensed producers also domestically could lead to further competition, which is generally good for the patients, for the whole system. However, if I would place my bet, I would kind of disagree. I think there will be a future for imports and international supply chains, and we'll figure a way out over the next few years how this will look like. But I also agree with you, Philip, that those that have like a head start and have existing cultivation sites domestically established, that they will definitely play a role in the future. And the key question is, will there be further significant funds for those, let's say, up to 100 potentially additional cultivators?
Maybe to add one more point, I think the only important question now is, as Peter mentioned, the column 2. You know, the second part of the law, if that will come, then everything for this recreational market has to be grown in Germany. Obviously, I mean, I think we're in a good position for that as well. And then obviously more competitors may enter the market because it has to be grown domestically. The question is then what will be the legal frame or the regulatory framework, to be better said, which needs to be accomplished.
Is that going to be also for, by the way, for adult use, I heard, in the future, potentially, when commercialization is allowed, still in indoors, GMP?
Now, due to the international regulations, if the model projects come, the supply for the model projects have to be cultivated in Germany. And if you plan now to establish your own facility, your own cultivation facility, you are in a better position to supply also the model projects which are coming.
But to answer your question, I think it really depends. If you still need EU GMP, we don't know yet. We know that's the highest standard we have. In
GACP probably, at least.
GACP is standard, and then EU GMP, maybe it's somewhere between food and GMP. We don't know yet, but we obviously say, okay, stick to GMP, you know what you have, and you have a good quality in that. Okay,
so, and now about the adult use. So how do you see this coming? I mean, I'm sure that everybody at this conference wants to know about potential consequences of these cannabis clubs. They're social clubs. They're kind of different from the ones in Spain, obviously, because they're totally legal. 500 max members. We don't know which location. By the way, the member has to drive, right, to the facility, but they can actually carry it out. I don't know. What would be the consequences for, the medical side, and also as a let's say, as a patient, as a user, would it be cheaper or more, economic or easier for me to get my cannabis as a medical patient or as a, member of the clubs?
Yeah, maybe I kick it off. Thanks, Thomas. So, first of all, the only commercially addressable market is the medical market, as of now. So the whole Cannabis social club system, it's for non-commercial purposes. That's important to understand. And what would be the dynamics from our perspective? First of all, we had the rescheduling of cannabis as a non-narcotic. And I think all of us here and the panel saw over the last 2 weeks probably significant impact in our sales and revenue, which is great. So we see that there is a seamless, easy patient journey that those patients get those products, get cannabis. That's like very important. And the key question is, will there be in the future people going into self-therapy through those cannabis social clubs, for example, or will those patients go to like reliable, high-quality, established supply chains and also products? That's something that we will see. However, my opinion is if it is a easy patient journey, which is possible, this commercial addressable market is the one that will probably have a significant impact. And I believe that when it comes to the recreational adult use system, we need to wait a little bit on actually the pillar 2 of the law that might come over the next few years, and this will be probably, from the commercial perspective, the one that might have more impact on the overall system than the cannabis social clubs.
Right, we will see what happens. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe to add to your question regarding pricing and what does it mean for the end customer, patient, consumer in the end? I mean, right now you go to the pharmacy and you pay the same price as on the black market. So already right now, and as Benning said, the journey is quite simple
What's the
already.
price?
7 to 10 euros in the pharmacy, you can get a gram of cannabis. So I think for a social club to get to that level and to accomplish that quality, it's a long way to have, enough funds to really realize that.
Right. So, well, by the way, do you know how much is going to be the cost per gram, or how much they're going to have to pay the members of the clubs?
It's differing depending on the club, what kind of style they are. We are seeing clubs that would require a yearly fee of 3,000, 4,000 euro. We see clubs that is a fee like 500 euros. So this is very, very different. But when it comes to a market question, how will this affect at the long run the market who will deliver the most convenient process to a customer/patient will do the run? Because even if I would be a recreational user, for example, but my customer journey is much more easy to get it over a pharmacy because they do delivery, for example, door to door, and the recreational or my cannabis club is 20 kilometers away and I have to go there. I will do this maybe 1 or 2 times and then I will say, I go for the Amazon concept. I just click and I get it in front of my door. So basically there will be market for everyone, recreational, medical. For example, if we just see, we invited a lot of Rotary clubs, a lot of Lions clubs into our facility just to show how cannabis is produced, how the variety of medical cannabis is shown to people who use this as a medical treatment. And they are really apologizing after this. Oh, we never know that. We just thought that this is just a joint and nothing more. So you see, even those kind of customer groups in the future will grow because more and more people are getting rid of their fears, and this big stigma of narcotic is gone here in Germany. And I think this is the biggest market booster in total. And at the end, convenience will do the business and the run.
Yeah, convenience. Actually, I would like to talk about convenience in the medical market, okay, and this declassification at this point. I think that maybe on a side note, this adult use might help for the stigma thing, so that more actually patients, more people, can actually get to, think that I'm going to use cannabis. But the declassification. So actually, in Germany, as a patient, the situation was already pretty comfortable because online clinics, all you had to do was just the first visit, right? The first visit in person with the doctor, and then everything else could be done online and also delivered Amazon-style home. Prices are, pretty good, obviously. Now with declassification, what happens? You can do everything online. What are the, it's no more a narcotic, so they say it's going to be easier also for prescriptions. But what does it mean that, the process is going to be easier also for doctors and patients?
So first of all, I think we can all agree on that one. The most biggest workload for us, for example, was the bee farm communication and all the documentation you have to deliver week by week, two numbers after the comma and all that stuff. And this is gone by now immediately, which makes us a lot of easier just doing the processes internally. Plus, the most crucial thing for the industry is really getting rid of this stigma. So it was really categorized as a narcotic, and in the media it was dealt as the worst narcotic ever. Poison invented on this planet, and this is gone now. And you see a lot of doctors also, they were so scared of applying for a narcotic prescription because the process is not that hard to get one, but of course then you are monitored. A lot of doctors said, I don't want to be monitored and I don't want to have all this work just for, 10 euros, so I'm out of it. And with this gone, they have a different approach towards it because they are not so focused anymore with this narcotic stuff.
And it's not a last line therapy anymore. So previously as a narcotic, you could only use it as a last line therapy like morphine and so on and so forth. So now it can be really used like ibuprofen.
Yeah, so this is very important actually because it's part of the medical market, which is a great market because you tap into a a huge market that potentially can be also covered by the healthcare system. So this is the pharma world, right? Which is kind of new for many of us. But yeah, so let's, for example, now you just said something new that I didn't know about the narcotic license. Doctors have to get a narcotic license in order to?
Not really a license, so there are two types of prescription. There is a blue one, which is the regular one, and the yellow one, which is the narcotic stuff. And for that, you have to apply at B-Farm. You have to send your diploma as a doctor to the B-Farm, then fill out a paper, and then you get a bunch of prescription, send it to your doctor's place, and then you can use this. So you have to really apply for that.
Okay, so how do we grow the market of doctors? How do we grow the numbers of doctors and therefore also the prescriptions? So something that I actually have dived into for the cannabis medical market is the fact that sometimes it's not patient consumer driven, but it's doctors driven, right? Differently from the recreational adult use market. So how do you engage doctors to learn how to prescribe, to believe in it, and then it's going to actually become a job for the doctor, because I've actually studied this. There's going to be follow-ups and time required by the doctor, and therefore he obviously wants to get paid, and then there's liabilities to that. So the training, the payment, the rewards for the doctors, and the healthcare system. When patients can actually take advantage of the healthcare system or not. So I studied this in a few countries in Europe, like Italy, for example, is completely pharma. So, and there's actually a certain number of pathologies that are accepted, by the healthcare system. Then it goes region by region, of course. But it also depends doctor by doctor, if it's a specialist or not a specialist, generalist, or in a hospital. So I would like to know, how can patients, get their cannabis covered, and how are clinics, benefiting from such a thing?
Yeah, so what you're talking is the reimbursement part, which is still difficult in Germany because it's still a last-line therapy in terms of reimbursement. You've got to differentiate between the narcotic and the reimbursement part. So cannabis can be prescribed to anyone right now on a script, as Thomas said, but you got to pay it out of pocket. If you want a reimbursement, it's a lengthy process. You got to prove that you have tried every other therapy first, and then even then often it's rejected, because often they say there's not enough evidence to really do the reimbursement. So I think this doesn't change right now. This won't change very fast in the future. There are some things going on where they try to ease it for some medical professionals, but it's a lengthy process, and those patients who want and need a reimbursement will need to continue to fight for that.
But with the price of 7 to 8, 9 euros per gram, the self-payer don't really look for reimbursement anymore. They pay it out of pocket voluntarily and never apply for reimbursement. So this is only a problem for real people who really need medicine and who really need the support of the public health insurance.
And maybe just adding some more color on how the market looks like. So in the past, so let's say last and the year before, we were talking about maybe 50% self-payers, 50% patients under statutory health coverage. Now we are probably rather talking about 60, maybe 70% self-payers. So that's one important impact to the market. And we see that, each doctor could prescribe cannabis. Not dentists, not vets, obviously, but generally each doctor. We see, 20 plus telemedicine providers right now that are also offering their service, some very bullish. And we see some, especially pain specialists, that are really focusing on cannabis as a therapy option. And because you ask how to educate them, how to train them, it's for me, the key topic right now is destigmatization, not a narcotic prescription anymore. It really sounds so silly and so easy, but that's really, really a key and door opener. And then second, education, and this means, for example, interface to product information systems and so on, and different companies have different solutions, but that those doctors really have the chance to get transparency of 400 plus flowers in the market, of, I don't know, 200, 150 extracts in the market. So it's getting complex there, and at the same time, it's still a quite patient-driven market, especially in the flowers market. So we still have the challenge as a company that we cannot, or very limited, address patients with marketing, with information. So we always need to go to the doctor or the pharmacist to somehow get the message out in the market.
So is it going to change anything about the marketing, advertising, or at least education of the patients with this scheduling?
Yes, before that it was a criminal offense to advertise for medical cannabis, paragraph 14, paragraph 5 of the Narcotic Act, and now it will be in the in another act, but it will be only a fine and not a criminal offense anymore. So you can do some more. Before
yeah, so
serious.
from a business perspective, you could kind of assess what is the cost for a certain activity, but still we are talking about quite significant fines and significant downsides. But in the past, it was jail, so I mean that was easy decision.
Well, this is changing gradually all over the world. That's in many other countries, so that's very exciting. Last question, then I would like to open for questions from the public, from the audience. Sorry, dominoes effect or potential influence to the rest of Europe. What do you think in each vertical, or
100% this will happen. So I would even say that most countries in Europe will be even more bullish than Germany when it comes to the legalization framework. I would say especially Czech Republic, we hear more and more rumors that they will even skip this medical part and just go all in right from the beginning. So let's see. But this was a very, very big impact on all the other countries for sure.
There's any questions from the audience?
Check. There we go. Questions? Who? Oh,
question up
okay.
here.
All right. All the way up. There's a microphone right up there so that my lazy ass doesn't have to climb these stairs 16 times a day. There you go.
Hi, my name is Trenton Birch. I come from South Africa. I'd like to know what the panel's opinion is on the future of outdoor cultivation, because obviously at the moment the pharma industry is very much leading medical cannabis, but we all know that cultivating outdoor under netting or under tunnels or green door is vastly different in terms of price. Do you think there is a future for outdoor cannabis for the medical industry from the likes of Colombia and South Africa, etc.? Thanks.
So when once there will be a recreational market here for sure. Right now in the medical market, it's really hard to achieve the micro values when you do 100% outdoor. I'm very honest to you. I visited now, I think, 150 growing facilities in the last 5 years, from outdoor, greenhouse, indoor, whatever kind of quality. And I have to really admit that medical grade, 100% outdoor, this is more than challenging. And if you have, on the other hand, facilities who do the run indoor, producing decent quality to a decent price, not using radiation, because I would sense that there would be radiation needed for micro level bringing down if you do 100% outdoor. But I don't know, but this will be a hard challenge for the medical market.
Anyone else have a question? Anyone closer to me, perhaps? All right, you've all been thoroughly... Oh, thank you so much.
Hi, guys. I'm hearing a lot, and I'm very interested in the German market, actually. I live here, and I helped develop the business economic development agency of the Federal Republic. So right from the top, back when it was the Commissioner for Foreign Investment, to invest in Germany, Germany Trade Invest. And I've been hearing a lot from doctors about a database that's coming out. I'm not really sure, but they're going to be collecting, and it's supposed to be also coming out. Do you guys know about this database, while they're giving practical experience to other doctors about everything from Parkinson's to where it can be used, sleep, for whatever use? This is something that one of the pharmaceutical groups in Germany is doing. Anybody know about that? Or
Not in particularly, because there are so many of these projects, and we as an industry, we are working very, very closely together on that when it comes to education. Because there were so many doctors already applying for cannabis the last 5 years, which are very well known among the doctors' circles, so to say, and we try to make videos with them together, bringing this to educational platforms, sharing everything just to educate them. So I will be very, very sure that there will be something like this in the future very nearby.
I'll find out who, but there is a German group working on it. One of the pharmaceutical companies right now is putting together a database and that will be shared. All the little qualitative circles that the German doctors have, they're getting this information now. So.
But it depends really on what kind of data you look at. If you're looking really at, what the German reimbursement system, when we come back to that point, values is like phase 3 double-blind data, and you won't have that from what you described. There are too many strains out there, too many extracts as we described, to really get reliable medical data, which then can be used in terms of what German doctors adhere often to. And that's what we try to educate. Hey, let's talk about cannabis as such, about THC and the potency, and then try out on how to best or try to find the best fit for your patient in the end.
I would like to ask a question about that too. I feel like it's a challenge because cannabis is so different person to person. Like one person really likes OG Kush, another person has completely different effects. Maybe it makes one person sleepy, it keeps one person awake. How do you quantify that? How do you make it so that I don't even know.
So
you know what I mean?
I think in the long run, when it comes to a data perspective, first thing that the doctors will do will clustering diseases and certain kind of extracts or flowers or even terpene profiles. And then you can just put your strains which are fitting into certain profiles into that, because even if you look at the data, of course, there will be some exceptions for that top to down as well, but you can definitely find something like, okay, this strain is working for maybe 60% of the patients for going to bed. This strain is working maybe 80% for the person, or 30%, you never know. And with this kind of data, you will make the business, not even for us, but for the doctors, for everyone in the industry, much more easier when it comes to this categorization, because we have to do that. No pharmacy is willing to have 500 strains in their vault and in their storage, because it's a logistical nightmare, to be honest. And therefore, we have to strip this down into very, very functional groups of diseases, terpene cannabinoid profiles, and then you go from there.
Fantastic. There's a question up here.
Thanks for the panel. You guys are doing a great job. What role does CBD and other minor cannabinoids come to play in the medical market in Germany? And then the second part of the question is format. Other than flower, what other formats do you see coming online?
Maybe I kick it off here. So first of all, if we are talking about the medical cannabis market, we typically mean THC content above 0.5%. So I would say this panel here represents really not the relevance of any CBD product. Typical forms that we have are flowers, around 60% of the market revenue. Then another around maybe 20-25% is full spectrum extracts, and the rest is like isolate, which is mainly dronabinol. This means magistral formulations, and then there are like very, very limited finished products that are available. So I would say CBD is not playing a relevant role as of now in the medical market. And when it comes to the forms, we are still very much at the beginning.
Yes, but research is going on onto that because, for example, in the US, we have a recreational market, so we have more options to test products, and we just find out that if you, for example, do a certain kind of timeline for single cannabinoids in a pill or something like this, working after 1 hour, after 3 hours, after 5 hours, you can really steer, for example, the sleeping process up to 8 hours totally controlled. And this is something we have to learn, but with the upcoming industry in Europe, the upcoming researchers, data collections, I think in the next years we will have some good outcome for all of us.
Maybe I can add to that. We saw companies trying to bring CBD, e-liquid vape pen on the market for THC for patients, but this is a very complicated procedure. So you need a CE, you need a pre-market authorization, you need a CE mark approved by an expert group, and this is very hard to achieve or to get, and companies still trying to do that. So we'll still have to wait for that, even for that small, simple product.
So actually, I have a question about the formulas. You actually touched into something that I like. So you talked about the profile of minor cannabinoids, terpenes, formulas, pathologies. So now the EU monograph, if I'm correct, and the German monograph does not require the disclosing of minor cannabinoids or terpenes, only THC and CBD, correct? But you're actually going further. So, are you testing also for the other components of the flower, the extract?
Yes, sure, because we as an industry, we have to learn about our products, of course, and how they work. And cannabis is a little bit more complicated because it has such an individual effect on the human body and so forth. We have to learn that, but of course, standardization of products is one of our main goals, and therefore we have to do the research on that.
So you said there shouldn't be too many types of genetics, otherwise everybody goes crazy or we don't know how to follow. Have you chosen your genetics? How many?
My personal?
Yeah, I mean for 420 Pharma.
3 I selected by myself, and of course we have some more guys in the team, but 2 of those I selected personally were market hitters. So
what kind of pathologies are you trying to target?
But you got to say that there's really big demand for huge variation. I mean, as you said, it's a nightmare from a supply chain perspective, but you got to see what the market wants. So there's always quite some request to get new product as well on the market.
So what does the market want?
So maybe
Good cannabis. I hate to cut you off.
High THC,
I'm sorry,
as
we're
much THC
actually
as
out of time. I apologize. I know it was just really getting good, but we're over time. Let's hear it again for the whole panel. Claudia, Kai-Friedrich, Benedict, Dr. Goebel, and Thomas Schotten. I'm sure if you want to talk more, they'll talk to you out there. This is the Berlin International Cannabis Business Conference 2024. We'd like to thank the Tallman Group, our title sponsor. We'd like to thank all of y'all for coming out. Don't forget there's a big party tonight in the showroom, and you can get tickets for next year, this year probably, and we're going to be in Slovenia at Lake Bled for a Science and Technology Forum in September.